Japanese food is all about sushi, think again. On this week's programme, we'll be getting a taste of Tokyo from the locals. This week, my chopsticks get a workout in arguably the world's foodiest country. We're unplugged and 3,000 metres up a mountain for Europe's biggest acoustic music festival. We go in search of an original Panama hat, but not necessarily in Panama. And you're away on holiday and discover your passport's expired. Simon Calder's here to explain why you don't need to panic. Hello and welcome to The Travel Show with me, Carmen Roberts, coming to you this week from Tokyo. Now, most visitors here will tell you that the food is amazing, but now it's official. Traditional Japanese cuisine, washoku, has recently been awarded UNESCO World Heritage status. It's only the second national culinary tradition after French to be added to the UNESCO World Heritage list. But to truly experience Japanese cuisine, you have to eat with the locals. There's certainly no shortages of places to eat here in the Japanese capital. Well, Tokyo has certainly earned a name for itself in culinary circles. Behind me is a popular 2 Michelin star restaurant, one of almost 60 in and around the city. And there are a staggering 14 restaurants here that have earned the much coveted 3 Michelin stars, the most in the world. But if you don't want to blow your holiday budget on just one meal, there are plenty of cheaper options. There are vending machines like this dotted all over Tokyo, and if you don't understand or read much Japanese, it can be a bit like playing Russian roulette with your lunch. But that's part of the fun. Usually restaurants will have pictures to help you with your choice. So I've got my ticket, so I give it to the waitress and hope for the best. Arigatou gozaimasu. So this isn't quite what I was expecting. These noodles here are cold, but I've been watching everyone else and they've all been putting them in this hot soup. So here goes. I've had some surprisingly good meals at these fast food restaurants, and while these establishments are filled with locals, it's not quite the same as eating in the home of a real Japanese family. So I head to Musashi Sakai, a suburb west of Shinjuku, to get a taste of real home-cooked food. It's been arranged by Nagomi Visit, a startup that puts tourists in touch with Japanese families willing to open up their homes and their kitchens to visitors.
Usually when you come to Japan, there's just no way to meet a local and actually go to their home. And so I think the only time people would actually talk to a local would be asking directions, or maybe if you're adventurous, you would talk to someone at an izakaya bar. We just wanted for this to be a chance for people to eat something a little bit different than sushi or tempura.
Konnichiwa.
Hello.
Hello.
Please come in.
Thank you. So Yasuko-san, thank you so much for inviting us over. So what's for dinner tonight? What can I help you cook in the kitchen?
At first, I like to make salad.
Salad, great.
Yes, I use tuna and avocado and wasabi sauce.
Great, okay.
Please cut these Japanese basil.
Okay. Japanese basil smells almost like a sweet mint.
Good smell.
In with the fresh tuna, and now it's on to the dressing.
We use wasabi.
Wasabi, okay. So will this be very hot?
Very hot.
Okay.
But if used with avocado, it gets mild.
Oh, okay. The meal we are preparing is a mix of washoku as well as modern Japanese family-style cooking. What's it like for you cooking for foreign guests?
I want to share the happy time with my guests, and I want to teach very little but a bit of Japanese culture, and I want to enjoy.
And now it's time to set the table before our guest arrives.
Hi! Nice to meet you.
Finally, our guest is here. Turkan is originally from Turkey but lives in Finland. This is her first trip to Tokyo, and she's been corresponding with Yasuko for many weeks about this meal. Yasuko has printed out a menu and explains to Turkan about Japanese table etiquette. We are joined by Yasuko's son and daughter.
Itadakimasu.
Itadakimasu.
Itadakimasu means I gratefully receive and is generally said before meals here. There is a Japanese proverb that says eating rice out of the same pot can be a good way to connect with people from different cultures.
I wanted my visit to Japan to be as natural as possible, you know. Now that it's my first time, I don't know where to go, what to see, what to eat. But if somebody had organized this in advance, you know, meeting with local people and, you know, sharing the culture and food and everything all together, it sounded really good. And I feel like a family member was waiting for me in Japan. That's really very heartwarming.
Well, if you're thinking of heading to Tokyo to try your hand at learning to cook or just to indulge in the cuisine, here's the travel show guide of things to think about before you head over here. The bullet train, which turns 50 this year, is still the quickest way to get around Japan. However, if you're on a budget, try the highway buses, which run overnight and are often much cheaper. When visiting Tokyo, don't count on seeing Mount Fuji. Although it's well within viewing distance of the city, you can only get a clear view on about 80 days a year. Visibility tends to be better in the colder seasons and at the beginning and end of the day. Japan can be a bit of a challenge if you're a vegetarian, especially if you don't speak the language. Head to Kyoto, which has some of the best veggie restaurants around thanks to its long tradition of vegan Zen Buddhist culture. And if you're sharing a drink with other people, it's customary to fill your friend's cup first rather than your own. It's also considered rude to start your drink until everybody raises their glasses in a collective kanpai. Still to come, Simon Calder recommends his top tips for anyone heading to Italy with Global Guru. But first, here's this week's travel update. An investigation is underway after a ferry carrying more than 470 people, mostly children, capsized and sank off South Korea earlier this week. The ferry was travelling from the port of Incheon in the northwest to the southern resort island of Jeju. Many people are still unaccounted for. Egypt's tourism revenue has dipped by almost 45% in the first quarter of 2014 due to the ongoing unrest, which is keeping holidaymakers away. The first 3 months of the year is traditionally when travellers flock to its beaches for some winter sun. And finally, British Airways is hoping to run future flights on rubbish as it plans to build the world's first facility that converts landfill waste into airline fuel. A former oil refinery in the UK will become the home of the Green Sky project, which is scheduled to open in 2017.
Ever since being made famous by such debonair men as U.S. President Teddy Roosevelt, the world has been enamored with the Panama hat, a dashing symbol of dignity and worldliness.
It's a very sad and unfair truth, but the fact remains, if you want to do something big in this world, you have to have a great hat. Indiana Jones had a great hat, the Vikings, Mr. Peanut, and I need a great hat.
So, aiming to follow in such well-regarded footsteps, I set out in search of the most authentic of Panama hats in the town that used to boast a non-stop flurry of orders and artists, Montecristi, Ecuador. See, back in the early 1900s, all shipments of the hats traveled from Ecuador through the Panama Canal and on their way to US and Europe. Workers on the canal took note and started sporting them, thus earning the name Panama hats. And without a Made in Ecuador stamp anywhere on them, the name stuck, which meant it was time to both find one of these handmade treasures as well as set the record straight. But upon arrival in Montecristi, the non-stop flurry of orders and artists were nowhere to be found. It seemed even the residents had forgotten that once they had laid claim to a fashion powerhouse that created the most popular hat that a man could wear. Today, the town was basically deserted, the hat-making industry having been diminished since the late 90s by the increase of internet access to cheap knockoffs. But I wasn't interested in a fake. I was determined to find the real thing from a true artist, which meant it was going to take some looking around. On a dusty corner, I found Victoria Pache, one of the last true remaining Panama hat makers. For more than 30 years, she has handled the entire process herself, from picking the straw to the backbreaking work of weaving it, ironing the hat, and then shaping it. An art most recently added to the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List, but still quickly becoming antiquated. As in the rest of the town, there was a certain sadness to the shop. The boxes ready to be mailed had begun to pile up over the years, and the previous lines of visitors had diminished. Her once thriving shop was now more of a museum, a testament to an art that goes back almost 200 years. But nonetheless, Victoria was still actively making hats, even the Superfino, the highest grade of Panama hat available, and one that takes an unbelievable amount of time to make.
6 meses para un superfino.
6 meses
6 meses
para uno sombrero.
para un sombrero.
This is going to be the Ferrari of all hats, and it's going to come with a Ferrari-like price tag, $1,200.
When rolled up, the Superfino should be able to fit through a gentleman's wedding ring, and when turned upside down, it should be able to hold water. But since I didn't have $1,200 lying around, I decided to purchase a Normal, a respectable grade just below the Superfino, but one that's only going to run $150, a small price to pay for a fashionable piece of art, and one that is quickly becoming a thing of the past, unless buyers make the effort to purchase the real thing.
Stay with us on the Travel Show, because coming up after the break,
we head into the Alps with our guitar and tambourine. All that's still to come.
welcome back to the Travel Show, your essential guide to wherever you are heading.
Welcome to the slice of the show that tries to make your travelling life easier. Now, the subject that's got you going, according to the weight of the electronic mailbag here, is Croatia, and in particular the most useful currency to take to that lovely Adriatic nation.
I'm going to Dubrovnik in May. Any advice on which currency to take?
Well, Terry and everyone else who's got in touch, Croatia joined the European Union last summer but hasn't yet signed up for the euro. So the kuna remains the national currency for a while at least. You'll sometimes see prices quoted in euros, but mostly that's to give Germans and Italians an idea of costs. I've only ever paid in the local currency. The keenest exchange rates are for euros, but if you're travelling from outside the euro area, such as Britain or the US, then just bring your own national currency, such as pounds or dollars. It's not worth changing into euros first. Next, Maggie Jackson from Somerset, who asks for a recommendation for Italy.
We'd like to go somewhere between Rome and Naples, with good transport links to both cities. We love the sea, mountains and nighttime socialising.
Maggie, there are plenty of towns strung out between southern Italy's two big cities, the capital and the wonderful city of Naples. But to make the most of your criteria, I recommend you park yourselves in Naples. Even though it's a big, busy city, it doesn't have to feel like that. Park yourself just around the shore, away from the port, and you'll feel as though you're in a grand old resort. Yet in minutes you can be in the middle of a vibrant Mediterranean city, enjoying superb food and great bars. For anyone who loves the sea and the mountains, the Bay of Naples delivers beautifully, and access to Rome is easier than it's ever been. A fast train will take you from Naples Centrale to Rome Termini in 70 minutes flat. Finally, John Thurston got in touch just before a planned trip to Egypt, in a bit of a panic.
My passport has 6 months at time of departure, but will be 1 day out on the day I return. We're going in 4 days, so I don't have time to renew. Will it be okay?
John, you're in luck. The Foreign Office here in the UK says simply your passport should be valid for a minimum period of 6 months from the date of entry into Egypt. That's entry, not exit, so you shouldn't encounter any problems when you land. It's worth printing out the Foreign Office advice just in case you run into any problems at your UK departure airport. That's all for now, but if you've got a travel question, I'm here to help. Just email thetravelshow@bbc.com and I'll do my very best to find you an answer. From me, Simon Calder, the Global Guru, bye for now and see you next time.
We end this week with a little alpine musical adventure. Zermatt Unplugged claims to be Europe's biggest acoustic festival, and it's an annual event which takes place in Switzerland. We sent Greg Mackenzie to discover why some prefer their music at high altitude.
Nestled in a deep valley bordering France and Italy, the ski resort of Zermatt is surrounded by 29 alpine giants, making this one of the most popular resorts in the Swiss Alps. And once a year, it becomes the backdrop for Zermatt Unplugged.
Well, you can tell everybody, yeah, you can tell everybody, go ahead and tell everybody, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
A week-long music festival dubbed the Glastonbury of the Alps, which attracts more than 20,000 people. Headlining the festival, the US soul singer Aloe Blacc, who recently scored his second #1 hit in the UK singles charts.
I loved the experience the first time around. I've had a chance to meet with the promoters. They've come to LA, we've had dinner, and just, you know, it's sort of like making a family out of the business, instead of the business coming first. In Zermatt, it is a different kind of relationship with the audience. It's a seated event, so that changes the dynamic about how much energy we put into the music to make people dance. I mean, either way, they're going to be dancing in their seats.
The event, now in its 7th year, aims to offer fans an intimate musical experience. Artists perform live acoustic sets, which helped make this event unique, setting it far apart from the many other festivals taking place in ski resorts across Europe and beyond.
We wanted to do something that really fits the town, and we think these smaller stages, these intimate stages, even the big one, pretty close to the artist and pretty intimate, and I think this fits very well Zermatt, and that's what somehow makes the magic of the event.
One of the main challenges with staging the event: how do you get equipment up a mountain? Because this resort is car free. Simple, use a helicopter. The piano is part of a set for the Ronnie Scott's All-Stars, a 5-piece jazz band from London who are hoping to break a European altitude record by performing a string of free concerts more than 3,000 metres above sea level.
We were looking for something a little different from where the jazz club is, which is in Frith Street in Soho in London. And it's warm and cosy and small and intimate. And we thought, well, what might be a little different? So we went for this.
I had too much crapper in my brain.
We've been to Oman, we've been to Dubai, we've been to Hong Kong. But this is the most left field that we've ever pulled together.
Many of the concerts take place in venues in the village and at the lower mountain across 9 stages. Most are in the evenings, allowing you time to spend all day on the slopes, which is what Zermatt is known for. As a novice and first time I've ever been on a ski slope, I've enlisted the help of a trained instructor for a lesson in how to snowboard.
Now, of course, the only way to get around here in Zermatt is by using one of these gondolas. The great thing is, our trip takes about half an hour, which gives us enough time to take in some of these stunning views. So we're about 2 miles up now, and the altitude makes it quite hard to breathe. So if you're a novice like me, you have to take deep breaths.
At first glance, it looks fairly straightforward, or so I thought.
How do I stop?
Zermatt attracts more than 2 million visitors a year. It's also a playground for the rich and famous, so you'll need plenty of money to truly enjoy yourself here. But it wasn't always this way. In the early 19th century, the region was known for its agricultural and farming communities. Now, its only industry is tourism.
We are now at the end of a long winter season, and usually the numbers drop. And thanks of the Zermatt Unplugged, we have again a very strong week, almost fully booked, and it's definitely a big impact for our local economy.
And as Zermatt Unplugged comes to an end for yet another year, the focus now turns to staging and planning the week-long event next April.
Greg Mackenzie reporting from the Zermatt Unplugged Music Festival in Switzerland.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us on our travels. And don't forget, you can see those stories and much more online on our website. Or why not join us real time on our journeys by signing up to our Facebook page or our Twitter feed. Those details are on the screen now. Coming up next week on The Travel Show.
Teeth, terror and treacherous drops.
I've got nothing to grip on.
Rajans in South Africa driving the ever-popular garden route.
Cape Town is celebrated for its diversity, but the task now is to make good on the promises of the Rainbow Nation and fuse all its disparate elements together. Today, South Africa is laying out its stall for the 21st century. A new chapter begins.
Join us for that if you can. But in the meantime, from all the Travel Show team here in Tokyo, it's goodbye and see you next time.